Good afternoon. In today's lecture, we will talk about how expenditures affect the national income and the current account balance of the countries. So, I will write down the equations which will tell us how expenditures of a country are related to the national income of a country and how expenditures affect the current account balance of the country. And then we will introduce interdependence in the model, and then at the end we will try to figure out whether a deficit or a surplus which is generated by the changes in expenditures, are they sustained or are they negated in the interdependent model. So, the equations are the following. These two equations tell us about the impact of the expenditures on the changes in the income and on the current account balance. So, if you see the first equation, if there is a change in the expenditures, be it the autonomous private expenditures or policy induced expenditures, or the autonomous changes in net exports, it tends to have an impact on the incomes. This 1 upon S plus M is the open economy multiplier, wherein S is the marginal propensity to save and M is the marginal propensity to import of the country. The second equation tells us that if there is change in the autonomous private expenditures or policy induced expenditures, it tends to deteriorate your current account balance. Reason being that if you increase the autonomous private expenditures and policy induced expenditures, they tend to have an impact on the incomes. As the incomes rises, the imports go up, so there is a deterioration in the current account balance. But if there is a switch in expenditures in favor of, say, the domestic goods, from foreign to domestic goods, DNA goes up and it leads to an improvement in the current account balance. So, if there is an increase in DNA, it will have an impact on the incomes, but it will also improve the current account balance. Now, you can see from here that if there is an improvement in the current account balance, it has an impact on the incomes. Okay. And we are also saying that it improves the current account balance. So, whatever is the impact on the incomes, and through incomes there is a change in the imports, it's still not able to wipe out the surplus which is created by the shift of expenditures from foreign to domestic goods. So, this is the point that needs to be understood, and what we need to probe further is that if we bring in interdependence in the model, and if there is a switch in expenditure from foreign to domestic goods, will it still lead to an increase in the current account balance, or will there still be balance of payment surplus? So, think of this in a manner that, say for example, we introduce another country which is, say, Japan, and this is US, or your country is India, and you introduce the India's major trading partner now as China. Now think of what happens if there is a change in the autonomous private expenditures in India. What we will see is that it not only improves the incomes here, but it also improves the incomes in the other countries. But on the other hand, it deteriorates our current account balance, because as the incomes goes up, the imports go up, and as a result, this current account balance comes to be negative. Now, when you have interdependent model, when you increase expenditures, it increases incomes in their countries. When it increases incomes in their countries, their imports go up. When their imports go up, our exports go up. And yet, we will see at the end that it is not able to wipe out the deficit which is created in the current account. So, today we are going to focus on the interdependent model, and finally we will see whether the changes in expenditures or the switches are able to wipe out the deficit or surplus permanently. And the answer to it is that even if you bring in interdependence, it will not be able to wipe out the surplus or deficit which is created by the shocks which are given in the model. Shocks which are given in the economy. So, if you have to bring in the interdependent model, you need to have some changes in this term DNA. DNA earlier was dxa minus dma plus m star dy star, where you had assumed that the incomes of the foreign country are constant and m star is the marginal propensity to import. Now, in this interdependent economy, the change is that you define dn1a to be dx1a minus dm1a. And dn2a to be dx2a minus dm2a, and dn2a is minus dn1a. So, the equations would become dy1 1 upon s1 plus m1 da1a plus da1 g plus dn1a, and you would have m2 dy2 divided by s1 plus m1. Now, see how this term has emerged, because now dn1a is dx1a minus dm1a, and this is m2 dy2. So if you take it out of the bracket, here out of the parenthesis, you will get m2 dy2 divided by s1 plus m1. Similarly, you can define dy2 to be equal to 1 upon s2 plus m2 dA2A plus dA2G minus dN1A plus M1 dy1 divided by S2 plus M2. Please recall that your dA2A or dAA is dIA minus dSA, and dAG, which reflects the fiscal and the monetary policy of the government, is dd minus SR minus IR dr. So the change is now this change in the autonomous export term. Autonomous changes in the net exports. Now it's a little curtailed one, it's dx1a minus dm1a, and dn2a is dx2a minus dm2a, which is minus dn1a. So now you have these two countries, we are studying the interdependence model, you have two equations in two unknowns. These have to be solved to get the values of dy1 and dy2. So I will spend some time on the board and then solve these simultaneous equations and see what finally comes out, what impacts the changes in the incomes. And you will find that it's not only your expenditures, that is your country's expenditures, but their country's expenditures also having an impact on your incomes. And then once we have these figures, we will also get a figure for our current account balance. So I will spend some time doing a little bit of algebra. So what I am going to do is to replace the value of dy2 here with this big figure. So what we get is that the incomes in your home country changes because of the changes in the expenditures, be it the private expenditures or the policy induced expenditures. They change because of the policy induced expenditures and the private expenditures in your neighboring country, in your trading country, in the country which is engaging with you. And if there is a switch in expenditures from domestic to foreign or foreign to domestic, say in case of foreign to domestic, and DN1A improves, it will tend to increase your incomes. Similarly, if you solve for dy2, you can always get a value, you can always get the incomes of the second country. Now, look at the changes which can happen in the incomes of your trading partner. The expenditures which are done there, it tends to have an impact on the incomes through the Keynesian multiplier, but your expenditures, okay, your country's expenditures also tend to promote incomes in the other countries. And any improvement in the net exports, say for example, if there is a switch in expenditure from foreign to domestic goods, which improves your net exports, it tends to deteriorate the net exports there, it tends to have a negative impact on the incomes. But what you should be able to understand from these two things is that if DN1A increases, it tends to increase the incomes in your country, and it leads to a decline in incomes in the other country. When there is a decline in incomes in the other country, it leads to a decline in imports. And when there is a decline in imports, it leads to a decline in exports. And yet, it is not able to wipe out the current account surplus that is created right at the beginning. To further explain the last point that I just mentioned, I need to get a figure for the change in net exports, which is dx So, DN1, the change in current account balance, DN1 is equal to DN1A plus M2 dy2 minus M1 dy1. Now, you have already got the values of y1, dy1 and dy2. You need to substitute here in this equation to get the value of the current account balance. So, let us do it. So, in the board I will just keep the values of dy1 and dy2 and then solve for the changes in the current account balance. So, dn1 is equal to dn1a plus m2. Instead of dy2, I would put that to be so, dn1 is dn1a plus m2, dy2, instead of dy2, I have replaced the value of dy2 here and then minus m1 dy1, which is now collect the common terms and then see what we get. you need to focus on this equation, which is the changes in current account balance in the first country, in the home country, as a function of the autonomous change in net exports, changes in expenditures in the other country, the changes in expenditures in your home country. So, you see this equation where the changes in the home country's current account balance is directly related to the expenditures in your country, that is the home country, and negatively related to, positively related to the expenditures in the foreign country. So, what it shows is that even in the interdependent model, if you raise your expenditures, it will deteriorate the current account balance. This is happening despite the interdependence in the model. Please recall the two equations which were 1 upon S plus M dA1A plus dA1G plus dN1A and dN to be equal to S upon S plus M dNA minus even in this model where you did not have interdependence, expenditures in your home country led to deterioration in the current account balance, meaning that if you raise expenditures, your incomes go up. When your incomes goes up, your imports go up. When your imports go up, there is a deterioration in the current account balance. This is when there is no interdependence. It does not have any impact on the incomes of the trading partners. Now, bring in the interdependence. If your expenditure goes up, their incomes also go up. When their incomes go up, their imports go up. When their imports go up, our exports go up. And yet, it is not able to wipe out the negativity in the current account balance. Do you see this? That if this improves, if there is an increase in expenditure, let me repeat it, it leads to a deterioration in the current account balance, because the channel is when you increase expenditures, your incomes go up by the value of the multiplier, your imports go up, so your current account deteriorates. Now, bring in the interdependent model. When you increase expenditures, their incomes also go up, because dy2 is not only a function of your expenditures, but their expenditures also. So, when this goes up, their incomes go up, their imports go up, our exports go up. So, there is a marginal improvement in the current account balance, and therefore, the net result is that there is still underlying a current account deficit in your balance of payments. So, even when you bring in interdependence, it is not able to wipe out the current account deficit which is created by giving a shock to the system, that is increasing the expenditures in the economy. So, in today's lecture, we see that even if you have interdependent model, it is not able to adjust fully to the shocks which are given initially in the model. So, that is where we will end today. In the next lecture, we will talk about how to remove deficit and surplus in the balance of payments. Thank you.